Kim Peek, the inspiration for the movie Rain Man, was born with significant brain damage. He's read over 12,000 books and remembers every single one of them. He's even able to read 2 pages at once, one with each eye, and remembers everything in them. In 2018, 4 billion people have access to the internet, yet 844 million people still don't have access to clean water. Ancient Egyptians used headdress made of stone instead of pillows. In Denmark, Fartkontrol means speed check. Patients in an insane mental asylum in the 1950s have the same stress as the average high school student nowadays. A cockroach can live up to several weeks without its head. It only dies due to hunger. You are born with 270 bones when you're born, which form into 206 by the time you're an adult. A quarter of these are in your hands and wrists. If the 1st of January on a leap year falls on a Sunday, the months of January, April and July will each have a Friday the 13th. In the 20th century, this happened in 1928, 1956 and 1984. And in the 21st century this will happen 4 times in 2012, 2040, 2068, 2096. The world's largest privately constructed nuclear fallout shelter is the Ark 2. It's 10,000 square feet and is composed of 42 school buses mixed with concrete, runs on internal generators and has its own chapel, decontamination room and radio station. There's a company named Neuroware that sells a headphone that can read your brainwaves and selects music based off your state of mind. It took a whole month for Erno Rubik, the inventor of the Rubik's Cube, to solve his own creation. Ioannis Economou, the chief translator in the European Commission, can speak 30 different languages. His native language is Greek and he's the only in-house translator in the European Commission who's trusted to translate classified Chinese documents. Sharks kill about 12 people a year. People kill about 11,000 sharks an hour. Pirates used to wear eye patches on one eye during the day so they could see better at night with that same eye. I am is the shortest English sentence. The scent that lingers after it rains is called petrichor. In 2012, a Russian scientist regenerated an Arctic flower known as Silene stenophila that has been extinct for over 32,000 years from a seed that was buried by an ice age squirrel. In 2011, Lego produced 381 million tires, making them the world's largest rubber tire manufacturer by number of units produced. Dolphins only fall asleep with half their brain at a time, so they're only half conscious, which helps them from accidentally drowning. Stalin's guards were so afraid of him that no one called a doctor for over 10 hours after he had originally had a stroke, resulting in his death. They feared that he might recover and execute anyone who acted outside of his orders. Lobsters have some really weird anatomy. Their brains are in their throats, their nervous systems are in their abdomens, their teeth are in their stomachs, and their kidneys are in their heads. James Cameron was actually homeless when he wrote The Terminator and sold the rights to it for only $1 on the condition that he could direct it. Caramount Farms in Esmont, Virginia, posted a message on its Facebook page earlier this year, looking for volunteers to snuggle with its baby goats. Not surprisingly, the sign-up list filled up immediately. Argentine ants have a worldwide mega-colony. In fact, if they got on an airplane and traveled to a different continent, they would actually be welcomed by a foreign branch of the colony. The towns from Ghost Whisperer, Gremlins, Bruce Almighty, Back to the Future, Falling Skies, and the first episode of The Twilight Zone and much more are all the same set, which is known as Courthouse Square. A 9-year-old girl in Australia who received a liver transplant does not need lifelong immunosuppressants because her blood type spontaneously changed from O negative to O positive to accommodate the donor's liver. In The Shawshank Redemption, in the scene where Andy crawled through the sewer, actor Tim actually crawled through chocolate syrup, and the tunnel where it was filmed still smells like chocolate today. There are many untouched plane wrecks in various parts of the United Kingdom dating back to World War II, and removing them is forbidden. Oskar Schindler, who is credited with saving the lives of 1,200 Jews during the Holocaust, became virtually destitute after World War II. He became bankrupt after trying to raise chickens in Argentina. For the rest of his life, he survived off gifts and donations from the Jews he had saved during the war. In 1851, when the refrigerated ice machine was patented, the large ice importing industry ran a smear campaign against the technology, calling it immoral. For his time as James Bond, Daniel Craig has the privilege of taking any Aston Martin from the factory for the rest of his life. The equivalents of the English saying "that's Greek to me" are "this appears to be Spanish German, this is Russian to me Dutch, it's German to me Philippines, it's Hebrew Finnish, it's Chinese to me Hebrew, sounds like Mars language," or "these are chicken intestines China." The adult Luna moth has no mouth and dies of starvation. The chains that you can see hanging under school buses and trucks are there to provide traction in snow. With the flip of a switch, the chains will lower automatically and the centrifugal force sends the chains into action. When a mountain was found to be taller than Australia's highest mountain, Mount Kosciuszko, their names were swapped so that Mount Kosciuszko remained the highest mountain in Australia. The horror frog, which lives in Central Africa, when threatened, breaks the bones in its toes and forces the ends through its skin to create claws for fighting. 98% of Antarctica is covered by ice that is 1 mile thick. Contrary to movie plots, the U.S. Witness Protection Program has never had a breach of security in which a protected person or family member was harmed. All 8,500 plus. When meeting with Pele, Ronald Reagan said, "My name is Ronald Reagan. I'm the President of the United States of America, but you don't need to introduce yourself, because everyone knows who Pele is." Actor John Cusack has trained in kickboxing for over 20 years and is a 6th-degree black belt. In 2009, the Sun attacked Gordon Brown for misspelling the name of a soldier killed in Afghanistan, but in doing so misspelled the name themselves. After an ant colony is well established and has enough resources to spare, winged ants start to emerge. The name aspirin was originally a trademark belonging to a German pharmaceutical company Bayer, but after Germany's loss in Wei, the company was forced to hand over the trademark as a part of the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. There is evidence of early humans being killed and eaten by eagles. In 1586, a pregnant widow wrote a letter to her partner, who had died at the age of 30. This was found by archaeologists in South Korea in 1998, intact, with the man's mummified body and a pair of sandals woven from hemp and the woman's hair. In one Furfuro, a land sale treaty between the Pope and Florence accidentally left out a small strip of land around Cospaya. The people of the area promptly declared their independence and remained sovereign for nearly 400 years. A neutron star is so dense that if an object was to be dropped theoretically from 1 meter above the star's surface, it would hit the surface at a speed of 7.2 million kilometers per hour. When the world's largest diamond was transported from Africa to England, elaborate and secure journey by sea was publicized was a ruse. The real diamond was simply posted by mail. The Queen of England's portrait has been on enough international money to make a progressive timeline of her aging. The economic cost of stress and stress-related disorders in the USA is $200 billion each year. In the season finale May 14, 1998 of the TV show Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld said, "Maybe if we lie down our brains will work." The original recipe for Coca-Cola contained a small amount of cocaine, about 20.5 milligrams of cocaine per gallon. Cocaine was removed from Coca-Cola in 1903. There are 186 million more neurons in the left cerebral hemisphere of the brain than in the right hemisphere. The word doctor comes from the Latin word doceo that means to teach. The first cervical vertebra backbone is also called the atlas. Atlas was one of the titans in Greek mythology.